Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, Canto 6, Chapter 5, text 37. Sri Naistri Muktanam. Sri Naistri Muktanam. Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Lokayo Rupayo Kita. Lokayo Rupayo Kita.
Lokayo Rupayo Kita.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Lokayo Rupayo Kita.
Lokayo Rupayo Kita.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Vighata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Lokayor Bhayo Krita.
Lokayo Rupayo Krita. Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Vighata Shreyasa Papa.
Lokayor Ubhayo Krita.
Lokayor Bhayo Krita.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Lokayo Rupayo Kritana.
Lokayo Rupayo Kritaha.
Vinaisti Vira Muktanam.
Vinaisti Vira Muktana.
Amimam Sita Karmanam.
Amimam Sita Karmana.
Vighata Shreyasa Papa.
Vigata Shreyasa Papa.
Lokayor Uphayo Kritaha.
Lokayo Ubhayo Kritaha.
Okay. Rinai, from the depths.
From the depths.
Three. Amuktana, of persons not freed.
Persons not free.
Amimam Sita,
Amimam Sita.
not considering.
Not considering.
Karmanam,
Karma.
the path of duty.
The path of duty.
Vigataha,
Vigataha.
ruin.
Ruin.
Shreyasa,
Shreyasa.
of the path of good fortune.
The path of good fortune.
Papa,
Papa,
O most sinful,
Almost
Narada Muni,
Naramuni,
Lokayo,
Lokayo,
of the worlds,
Ubayo,
Ubayo, both,
Both,
Pita,
Rita,
done.
Dan,
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prajapati Daksha said, "My sons were not at all freed from their three debts. Indeed, they did not properly consider their obligations. O Narada Muni, O personality of sinful action, you have obstructed their progress toward good fortune in this world and the next, because they are still indebted to the saintly persons, the demigods, and their father." Purport. As soon as a Brahmana takes birth, he assumes three kinds of debts: debts to great saints, debts to the demigods, and debts to his father. The son of a Brahmana must undergo celibacy, brahmacharya, to clear his debts to the saintly persons. He must perform ritualistic ceremonies to clear his debts to the demigods, and he must beget children to become free from his debts to his father. Prajapati Daksha argued that although the renounced order is recommended for liberation, one cannot attain liberation unless one fulfills his obligations to the demigods, the saints, and his father. Since Daksha's sons had not liberated themselves from these three debts, how could Narada Muni have led them to the renounced order of life? Apparently, Prajapati Daksha did not know the final decision of the Shastras, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devaishi Bhutashta Ninam Pitrinam Akinkaranaya Vini Charajam Savatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Kato Mukundam Pariritya Kartam. Everyone is indebted to the demigods, to living entities in general, to his family, to the Pitas, and so on. But if one fully surrenders to Krishna, Mukunda, who can give one liberation, even if one performs no yagyas, one is freed from all debts. Even if one does not repay his debts, he is freed from all debts if he renounces the material world for the sake of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose lotus feet are the shelter of everyone. This is the verdict of the Shastra. Therefore, Narada Muni was completely right in instructing the sons of Prajapati Daksha to renounce this material world immediately and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unfortunately, Prajapati Daksha, the father of the Haryashvas and Savalashvas, did not understand the great service rendered by Narada Muni. Daksha therefore addressed him as Papa, the personality of sinful activities, and Asadu, a non-saintly person. Since Narada Muni was a great saint and Vaishnava, he tolerated all such accusations from Prajapati Daksha. He merely performed his duty as a Vaishnava by delivering all the sons of Prajapati Daksha, enabling them to return home back to Godhead. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Gnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishram Svapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Tam Vishnudaya Krishna Vishnu Paresh Namaste Swami Namena Vishnudaya Krishna Vishnu Paresh Namaste Swami Namena Namaste Saraswati Guruvani Chaya Irvisesh Vishnu Yavadi Paschitvari Shatari Vinaiskridir Amuktanam Ami Mamsita Karmanam Vigata Shreyasa Papa Lokayor Ubayokritaha. Prajapati Daksha said, "My sons were not at all freed from their three debts. Indeed, they did not properly consider their obligations. O Narada Muni, O personality of sinful action, you have obstructed their progress toward good fortune in this world and the next, because they are still indebted to the saintly persons, demigods, and their father. Hare Krishna. So, it's nice to be here. That I have the opportunity to travel with Navina Prabhu and come here in Finland. I remember from Finland is that in '93 we met the Finnish devotees in the forest far up north. We came from Norway in there. We were in Kirkenes almost, and we met the devotees there. That was nice, like a little trip in a cottage with some Sankirtan association there. So here, Narada Muni has instructed the sons of Prajapati Daksha about the futility or the danger of the material world, to become entangled in the material world. And he convinced them all to traverse the path of spirituality, going back home, back to God. So I think first there was 10,000 sons, now we're in another 1,000. Now they also are going, they also went that way. So Prajapati Daksha, he has become very angry now. This is the first argument he puts. He will put many more arguments why it was completely wrong by Narada Muni to make these young innocent boys go for renunciation. And the first accusation here is that Prajapati Daksha says is that they have debts, they have to pay their debts. How you can just let them not pay their debts? So when a person is born, Prabhupada mentioned especially a Brahmana. As soon as a Brahmana takes birth, he has 3 kinds of debts. So why did he say here, as soon as a living entity or a human being takes birth, he assumes 3 kinds of debts? Because especially, as I understand, especially a Brahmana is indebted to the great saints because of the wisdom and the knowledge, the understanding of renunciation and the path of spiritual life comes from these great saints. So, and one is indebted to the demigods. One has to perform sacrifices, and to one's father, one has to give children. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that there are 3 these kinds of austerities. He says austerity for the body. Austerity for the body is to worship the Brahmanas and spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, which also means worship the demigods. Prabhupada writes about that in the purport. And then also to worship one's father and mother also. So one is indebted, we are indebted to so many actually. Sometimes we take birth in this world, and just by using all the facilities by the government, the trams, and whatever they give us, we become indebted. And but Prajapati Daksha is wrong here, because there is one way you don't have to pay this debt, and that is if you traverse this path of renunciation, of going towards Krishna, back to God, or else we have to pay this debt. And sometimes many has experience of this, who has been on the street and talk with people and go and get a job, go and get a job and pay your debt to the society. But the conclusion of the Shastras is, as the verse Prabhupada quoted here, that if one surrenders, if we surrender to Krishna, then we are free from all this debt. So this, but if you don't surrender to Krishna, you have to pay these debts, and we see that if you don't pay this debt, you will degrade yourself. It's actually said in Bhagavatam that if you actually just live according to Varnashram, you do your duty, but you don't worship Krishna, you will fall down into hellish condition. So the most important part in life is to worship the Supreme Lord, and Narada Muni is engaging all these sons on this path, and we see that the youth, that before they get married, it's actually there's a time there, one kind of for austerity, and that's the time where a person is like open to accept some austerity, some challenge in life. Maybe they go for mountain trees or whatever. This is the time where many travel and experience. You go on interrail, or you do some austerity. You take the skis on and go for a mountain. That's many young people, they like this. But much of this austerity, it doesn't really help one. So we see here that the sons of Daksha, they actually just went for austerity. Do some austerity before they get married. It's like, people, they do this. Oh, I want to enjoy cake. I want to enjoy, drinking and go on holidays. But I have to do some austerity, or else I get fat, or this and that problem. So people understand this. You cannot just enjoy. You have to do some austerity. I mean, why didn't Krishna create it so that we can just enjoy it? I mean, why does he create so many nice things, eatable chocolate, and why can't I just eat to my full satisfaction? But it doesn't work like that. And life is for purification. So it's a common understanding that you have to balance these things out. So in the youth, many persons are willing to do some austerity too. And that's very good when Narada Muni just comes there and just they're just ready. They're like very ready to hear from Narada Muni, because later when they are married, it's too late that they are stuck there. So he's just there at the right time and giving them instructions, and he's informing them about the great opportunity by practicing spiritual life, about also the dangers of material life, and yeah, I mean, all this year he has instructed them before. We were all ready, and they are able to really take it to heart, and they understand that I don't want to go into that dark well of material existence. So Prabhupada said, for a brahmachari, it's 100% chance to go back home, back to God. And if one gets married, he said, then it's 50% chance. 50% chance. So it's a danger, the material life. You know, Pradopchi Daksha, he will come with more arguments. Oh, they have to, they have to live out their desires like this, or else how they can renounce without, how you can renounce something without knowing that it's bad. If you think it's good, how you can, oh, it's good, how you have to experience it. He thinks one has to experience it. So this is like, do we have to go to jail to understand or experience that, oh, it's no fun being in jail? No, we don't have to. We can be intelligent. Intelligent person, he understands by hearing. So, so there is a danger, because in married life, or you can say in material existence, of course, if husband and wife, are absorbed in service, that's wonderful if they can do it. But mostly one easily become entangled in my and mine, and the ego becomes the identity of I am the enjoyer, I want to enjoy. It becomes easily stronger unless one is very firmly situated in spiritual life and have good association of devotees. We see the importance of association with devotees, because without the association of Narada Muni, they would not have been able to take to this path. So there is many dangers. So therefore, in many sense, Prabhupada recommended just to avoid it. That's what Narada Muni said to these boys, just avoid it, because of the danger of entanglement, of growing desires. And we see this, that's what's happening, we see this everywhere. But as the Shastras says, and we see many people, they are married and they try to just enjoy life and doesn't take spiritual life seriously. So Indian families also, you can see they come from India or they go to the West, and they can manage quite properly. Because they have good karma, they just roll on their good karma, you can say. But if they don't worship Krishna, I don't know where that verse is, but I think it's in the 11th canto somewhere, where it said that if one just follows, just doing his one's duty, if you doesn't worship Krishna, you will attain a hellish condition. And we see that it also happens with Indians after some time. They also, anyone, if we don't worship Krishna. So Narada Muni is not doing anything bad to these boys at all. He's actually really benefited them, and also Prajapati Daksha also, because his sons are going back to God. And that's it's said that if your son goes back to God, then many generations behind you are also liberated. But Prajapati Daksha, he's cursing Narada Muni. He doesn't understand the great value of the service he is doing. So there will be opposition. I remember many instances from Prabhupada's time where young persons took to Krishna consciousness and the parents were very angry at Srila Prabhupada. So it seems like Srila Prabhupada, he's not taking the accusations seriously. And Narada Muni also is not taking the accusations seriously. He knows the conclusions of the Shastras, that if one surrenders to Krishna, one is free from all that, and there's nothing wrong in that. So therefore, Narada Muni is doing the right thing. So that's the opposition. As a preacher, we have to expect such opposition from persons like Daksha. Daksha is like a pious person. He's pious. He's he's worshiping the demigods and doing the yagyas, but he is proud of his position, just like we read from the, I think it's 4th canto or 3rd canto, 4th canto, where Prajapati Daksha actually because of his pride, he has to lose his head is cut off, because he offends Lord Shiva. And now he is again, very attached to be the controller. Have a lot of good sons with who attains a lot of good fortune. That's what everyone wants. That's the entanglement in this material world. We see a nice house, oh, can have such a house. And we want to try to live happily in this material world. But there is no real happiness in the material world. The only true happiness is in this loving Krishna. True happiness is attained by establishing our eternal relationship with Krishna and cultivating that eternal relationship we have with Him. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kavanaya Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karayodo. And this eternal relationship we have with Krishna is brought up. It's not something we get from outside. It's eternally there in our heart. As a soul, we are part and parcel of Krishna. And by Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Koreodori, this by hearing and doing different activities of devotional service, this our eternal nature as Krishna's eternal servant comes out. It's just brought out, and that's our constitutional natural position. And this is the real happiness we are looking for. And we try to look in the material world for it, but it's not there. It's simply not there. In trying to enjoy the senses. And human life is especially not meant for living a life like cats and dogs. Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shudyet brahma sokyam ananta tvananta. Yes. Lord Rishabdev instructs his sons. Life is not to enjoy the senses. It's meant for transcendental austerity. Tapodidyam, transcendental austerity, and it attain real happiness. Brahma's Saukyam, pleasure in Brahman, or of course we know the Supreme Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Brahman, so the pleasure in relating, the pleasure of serving Krishna. So that is the real happiness. That is the goal of life. And anyone who gives this to others, who tries to share this with others, is the greatest charitable person. So Prajapati Tatra, he's just completely misunderstanding the situation here. here Narada Muni has done the greatest service to him and his sons by giving them Krishna consciousness, by giving them the real happiness of life. But Daksha, because he's in darkness, he is attached. He cannot understand the great value of what Narada Muni is giving his sons. So Krishna consciousness is the greatest gift, and when we give this to others, we are following in the footsteps of Narada Muni. So even if people are criticizing or they don't understand, we should be convinced that we are actually doing the greatest service. Prabhupada said that first people, they will criticize you. That's like the first thing. First they criticize you. Then they laugh at you. And so then he said, and then they join you. So this is how it works. So here, Prajapati Daksha, he's criticizing Narada Muni. But last time when he did that yagya, he was also criticizing, but after he was really got the club on his head, then he woke up to his senses and became humble. And actually joined, you can say. But you see, when we again become entangled in the material world, we become attached to things of this world, even if it is, in the temple also, or we're dealing with so many things, with Krishna's, who is the owner of this house? We understand it's Gauranitai. It's their house. There's no doubt about it. And we're all here servants of them. And they are the ultimate controllers. So we have to be careful to engage everything in their service. Then we will be protected, and no enemies, no outside person can stop the spreading of Krishna consciousness. But immediately, if we or engage Krishna in our service, or his property in our service, then we're in danger. Then we will be unavoidably be attacked by others because of the envy that follows in the material world. I just read about Raghunath Das Goswami. His father took over the job of being the tax collector. There was another person who was a tax collector, and that service was given to Raghunath Das Goswami's father or his uncle, both of them, I don't remember. And the other person who lost that job, he became very envious. He became very envious. And when he spotted that the father did something wrong, he did a mistake. He took a little more in profit from the tax than what he was what was his share. He became so envious. He kidnapped, or he took Raghunath Das Goswami, you know, that saintly person, he took him and put him in jail. And you were here in the jail until, you know, I get my share. He was, so because he lost his job, he wanted his share. But it was, but Raghunath Das Goswami, he was such a, he wanted to beat him actually, but because he was such a saintly person, he couldn't beat him. So that former tax collector, he didn't beat him, but he called him ill words. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he was expert diplomat. He told that former tax collector, he said, "You are a very great personality." He said, "You." I don't remember exactly the words, but he said like you and my father, they are like brothers. And sometimes brothers, sometimes they are, you know, fighting, and sometimes they are, you know, friends. They're like brothers. And he spoke to that former tax collector in such a way that, you know, he started to cry. Tears came down his eyes in his beard. And also Raghunath Das was saying, because he said, I want to meet your father, you know, I want my share. That was his thing. He wanted to meet his father. So Raghunath Das Goswami arranged that meeting, and things were settled out. And there was no more problems. Yeah, just so very grateful to be here. This is wonderful. This place, so big, very big place. We just have a temple here in the city center of in Bergen, on the west coast of Norway. It's so much smaller. It's very nice to see here. All the devotees here, and the enthusiasm. I don't know what time is, but thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Maybe there are some comments or questions or reflections.
It seems that these arguments between the followers of Narada Muni and the followers of Daksha are going on since time immemorial, and seemingly without conclusion, because both are right in their own way, on their own level. So, when to encourage a person for renunciation and when to encourage a person to go for fulfilling their obligation, because for what reasons? We can see that many come to that point where they need to change ashram or they need to move on in life, yet there are a certain group of people who always say, no, you have to, just renounce the world and be a preacher. And others who say, no, you have to fulfill your obligation, or you need to do this because that's your homework, that's where you're at right now. And if you don't do it, you'll have to do it later, and later might not be so good because you may not be in a position of strength, and your timeline, your age is out. Like people getting married at 50 plus, it's not really the same. Like doing it in your 20s. Or can you give your reflections on that?
It's a good observation. So, I mean, from Bhagavad Gita, we know that if we artificially try to renounce something, but in our mind we're just still thinking about it, but then we are just a pretender. But if we can have a higher taste, what's that word? Yeah. If you get a higher taste, one can give up a lower taste. So we can see in our movement that, Prabhupada, he gave sannyas to so many young persons. And many of them fell down. But still in that position of doing that, taking to the renounced order, they did a lot of service. They were able to really spread the movement. So but they fell down, many of them. So they were maybe not ready, but still is it also my reflection just goes so far as to say that it was very helpful in spreading the movement. And therefore it was good. Yes, it's but it's also said that if you want to take to sannyas, you should be told to do it. Actually. I think it's a very complicated subject. How much should we renounce and how much should we enjoy and to do that? Yoga is all about balance, actually. That we talk about on the street. I talk about on the street all the time with people about this, about balance. Cover your needs, but don't take more than that. But it's a danger. It's a danger that we become entangled in the material world. So the argument will be here that you will give lecture on this the next days. How this that his Bhagavatam doctor is angry that he encouraged renunciation and inspired them for renunciation. So, but if they are not inspired to renunciation, then they will take the path of enjoyment. So one can inspire people to take to the path of renunciation. But they have to figure out themselves how much renunciation they can take. Yeah, there are many things to be said. Any other reflections on this? Please.
Yes, 45 minutes.
1 more minute. Yeah. Indeed, more?
And how to obtain around this one, higher taste? How to obtain this higher taste?
How to attain?
Yes.
You have to follow the yoga process and try to get a taste, get a higher taste. There's also this in the beginning it's not a taste, there's no taste. But if you follow the process, you will be cured of your material disease and you'll be free of those unwanted things in the heart. So gradually, then you will get a higher taste. Ruchi. This is described by Rupa Goswami. One gets a higher taste. So it's always to follow the process, not ritualistically, but with the purpose of doing spiritual advancement. We often recite the 10 offenses against which chanting of the holy name also is to maintain material desires. You have to give them up. And this is the instruction of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. You have to give up, let go of your attachment, and you need a suitable process. You need these two. It's not the process in itself, it's not enough, unless we desire or, yes, understand. This is the taste, this is what I should get, and this is what I should give up, and then do it. Then we get a higher taste. But it requires constant practice. In my experience, I know that I need to go on the street and become, a little bit humble. So that's all glories to those who don't have to go to the street and still remains humble. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. His grace Mahabhavi Prabhu ki. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice lecture.